So we have a TV set up here in the home, and we get the Zoom on. So anyone that's speaking, so if anyone wants to share some words or some stories or some highlights of Jack, we can go around. Someone try speaking just to make sure that we have the audio working.
Hi, this is Wes. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're coming through good now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Yep.
Okay, great. My name is Wes Sandler, and I went to school with Jack, and we lived together in Malden as well. And first, I'd like to send my condolences to the family. But I wanted to share some happy thoughts. Jack was an awesome friend, and I'd like to, if I may say his name appropriately, Su Senjay. I remember at parents' house eating some of those fabulous dumplings that his mom would make. But when I think back of Jack, I see him in the classic dress, wearing a T-shirt and his baggy pants, and he had like a fisherman's hat on with a brim. And I can close my eyes and I can see him like it's yesterday. We lived together for a few years. We were friends for many years. We were brothers at the fraternity of ZBT. And I've got some extremely fond memories. And everywhere he went, he was on the dance floor. He was one of those guys and we would show up, at a club or place to go dance, and we'd get there early. And he was one of those guys that even when there was nobody on the dance floor, he was the first one on the dance floor. And every time he would get the party going. He was extremely smart. I remember when he got hired by Intranets, and while Intranets may not be familiar to many people, I remember Intranets was the parent company of eToys, and eToys was like the online Toys R Us, and it was quite a big deal that he got hired, and he got hired before he graduated. And the reason why I remember that is I remember we were sitting in our apartment together, and he said, "Yeah, I got hired," and we were celebrating, and he said, "Yeah, I guess this means I don't need to do my senior paper." But of course, he did his senior paper and he graduated. I remember because he had gotten hired, he had an excellent job. He was making some money, and I remember the day that he bought his first vehicle. It was a Nissan Xterra. It was a SUV. And I remember the day we picked it up. I think Mernesa may have been there. And in classic Jack, we got there, and I think it was maybe he had put his money down on the car. I think it was like $50 short of an insurance payment. And he was having a hard time driving it off the lot because he couldn't get a license plate. But we were able to pull some money together. I think it was like literally $50, and he drove that thing right off the lot. And I'll never forget the day we went around. We drove everywhere in that car. He was so proud to have a car. It was a really great day. I've had many trips with him. We've traveled all over the place. We went to many cities. We went to Aspen together, and we actually did some snowboarding together. I'll never forget. We had a huge party on the campus one day back in school, and it was called Def Jam. And the reason why it was called Def Jam was because it included the D, E, and F towers. And it was a huge event. It was a great time. And I remember it got busted at some point in the evening. And I went to his room, and we had a great conversation while I was trying to get him out of the room because the police were coming up the stairs and we didn't want to get caught. But I remember he was explaining to me how we were living in the Matrix. And the interesting part about it is he was extremely convincing. He was very convincing with his. I remember that he had this great idea to create holographic software, and one of the things I remember was he wanted to create a holographic keyboard. And I remember at the time I thought, this is science fiction stuff. And I can honestly say that I got right here. It's some little device that you plug into a USB port, and it projects a keyboard on the table. And it's a holographic keyboard. And I remember buying this because I remember my friend Jack had the idea to come up with this, and I never thought it would be true. And here I am holding one right here. But I'll never forget his positive attitude, his willingness to go anywhere and do anything. He made fabulous dumplings. They were always delicious. But I really have really great fond memories of the family. And I send my deepest condolences to Chieh and to Mr. and Mrs. Su. But thank you for allowing me to speak. And I just want you to know that we have great love for Jack. And one thing that I remember learning as a little kid, my uncle had passed, and my parents were trying to explain to me what had happened. And it was very difficult to understand that he was never going to come back, that I was never going to see him again. And my father explained to me that as long as you keep him in your thoughts, as long as you have memories of him and you think about those memories, that he'll be right there next to you, that he'll never be gone. And so with that said, I'd like to think that my friend Jack will always be there. I will keep him alive with the beautiful memories that I have. And thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Yep.
Okay. Hugh, Susan, and Kevin, I'm with you in your loss. Jack was my best friend since I was a sophomore in college 21 years ago. He always lit a room, was always smiling, laughing, so nice and selfless. He was brilliant and enthusiastic and deep thinking, strong, and the nicest guy you ever met. I actually met him before I actually met him because one of my dear best friends, my roommate in college, my first year and sophomore year, first day, when couldn't stop talking about the nicest guy she ever met in Latin Way, Jack from Taiwan. She was so vivid in describing him. I was like, oh my God, he's like a superstar. I didn't meet him till the end of that year. And the moment I met him, I knew who he was. That day of amazing, brilliant, so helpful person who explained to her everything that needed to be known about the class or orientation. I just clicked. So I met him around his graduation time, although I remember seeing him at the DENF Def Jam April Fool's Day party, which I have to say most of our people who are there are here in the Zoom, whether in Tufts or outside of Tufts. My friends from Puerto Rico were there who are here because they love Jack and everyone here. I went to Jack's senior gala. It was his date, and that's when I met all the family. I remember he was so excited to hear Bill and get an honorary degree in 2000, which amazing what 21 years does. But when I went to DC, we were such good friends, actually, before Washington, in the summer, that sophomore summer, I stayed, did summer classes, and he was there. He lived in College Avenue. Ever then at his place in College Avenue. Everyone was there. Lots of people in the Zoom were there. And we had such a blast. We got interrupted a few times by police, but we kept going. And then when I went abroad to Washington, D.C., I worked in Congress with Senator Kerry, and he was there for my birthday. Can you hear me? We got to, okay, they came, Jack actually and Wes drove down to Washington, D.C. to visit me, see all the monuments, meet all my new friends, dance at all the clubs at Platinum in Washington. We had such a great time. Girlfriends, lots of girlfriends, just because, you know, he's just so nice and happy. He always was inventing and always thinking creatively. Wes mentioned the holographic keyboard. I remember the Run, the website that you can tell somebody to do something for you, do a run, whether it's to go get coffee or go get something, and he thought about it 20 years ago. And if you think about it now, Uber Eats and DoorDash, advancedly thought. And he would later say, see, I thought about this. I knew this. Just always forward thinking, always thinking in a deeper level, always connecting with his loved ones in a deeper level. We celebrated all the Pats championships together. He was there, so even since the first one, and I was senior in college. He was always the one I vented to when life changed. He reminded me of how strong I am. When I left or outgrew my first law firm, he was the first one there to tell me, go do this on your own. He helped me build he built 2 websites for me, including my present law firm's website. It is so good that if you run my friend has a program that checks all compliance with websites. He mentioned mine was one of the only ones that is almost perfect. That's how brilliant he is. Passes all the legal laws that websites need to do. He made it, built it, always creating, always so insightful. He was Techie Jack at my office, along with all the offices he worked with, always fixing problems, always enlightening us. And even though we worked hard, we had time to have fun. I won't remember the rock band sessions, the Guitar Hero sessions, the Beatles singing. I was his vocalist, he was my drummer or bassist, and we had so much fun playing, scoring 100% in the game. He was kind enough to let me sing, the poor thing. And he was always there. He met all my friends, all my best friends, law school, professionally, because he's Jack, always lighting up a room and touching so many people's lives. He took care of everyone and he never complained. And he was taking care of his family and 4 dogs. Every day he texted me pictures of 4 dogs, of walking them. And he was always my rock as life developed. And it's hard to think that he's not here, but he is here because he's in our hearts. And that kindness, that energy, that enthusiasm, that light will be with me. And I will carry that in everything I do. And Hugh, Susan, and Kevin and the family, my deepest sympathy, love, condolences. I'm with you because he's amazing. Love you all.
Hey guys. My name is Tim Whitehead. And you, Susan, and Kevin, my condolences. I love you guys. And we've known each other for a very, very, very long time. And I knew this wasn't going to be easy, but so many memories growing up. I mean, I've known Jack. We've been friends since elementary school, so it's been over 30-something years we've known each other, and God, there's so many experiences, you know. I can remember from the days growing up, battling each other on the tennis courts, probably throwing rackets at each other. So many things. But for some reason, the next day we'd always call each other up again and say, "Hey, what you doing, buddy?" You know, because he just was such a good soul, and such a good sport, such a good friend. Um, I remember the days going to play tennis, then going back to his house, going back to our house with the parents making us the best food in the world. And Kevin and Jack used to get at me all the time because I'd always steal all the Chinese sausage and all the chicken. I just remember these little things. And I remember traveling together, going to events. I remember going to the US Open together. We had such a good time. I think maybe it was like 2 years ago. We saw some of the best players in the world play together. And then to the Red Sox games together. We've done so much. But obviously the biggest thing that brought us together was that was love. And we never lost touch with each other, whether I was here, whether I was down south for a long period of time. And whether I was playing tournaments, the person I'd go to was Jack, because I know Renee, you had mentioned something about a rock, and I don't know what it was, but I'd call him right before my matches, and he would just have these way about it, these words, this comfort, you know. And I knew he was right there with me, giving me strength, and he still is to this day. And man, remember every time I'd come home, it didn't matter. Like, you know, we always connected, always wanted to play tennis together, always wanted to, you know. And it's funny, as soon as I got home back into Massachusetts, literally every single week together, we played tennis. We made a pact with each other. And this pact has been going on for like 30 something years. And it's tough, but I'm never going to forget Jack. I never will. Like you said, his spirit is all around us. I feel it. And I know he's always going to be there with us. I'm sorry. But Jack, definitely, you can tell Jack has made he's such a big influence in so many lives. And his spirit is just going to go on forever. He was such a great soul, a great person. Never selfish. And you know, if I forget something today, I'm sorry, Jack, but you know, there's just so many things I could say. But I'm gonna miss him, and I'm always gonna remember everything. I'm gonna remember everything that, you know, he ever said to me, all the advice he ever gave to me, all the talks we had on the tennis court, whether it was about life, you know, how family was doing, the tennis, work, whatever it was. You know, during the pandemic, we helped each other out. What else were we gonna do? You know, being barged in a place, you know, and we made a point to always hit with each other, just to get out and about, you know. And we cared about each other a lot. We were brothers from another mother, you know, but we were blood brothers, man. As far as I'm concerned, we were so close, and I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him dearly, and I'm just gonna cherish every single moment we ever had. And the one thing I've gotten out of this is, you know, you just have to appreciate life and appreciate everything in the moment, because, you know, every day is so important. So make the most of it. And I'm not gonna have, like, you know, like I said, was gonna be one less person at the baseball game. My tennis partner is not gonna be there every week, but he will be with my spirit. And I love you, Jack. I love you guys. And Kev, you know what I said to you. I'll always be open anytime you know you want to. I made a promise, and we're gonna get out there and hit some tennis balls, man. Anytime you want. You know, I'm always there for you guys. And so God bless Jack, and God bless you guys, Hugh, Susan, Kevin, and the family. and all his friends, and just cherish life, you know, just cherish it. Appreciate everything you have. And Jack, thank you for everything that you've taught me and helped me with in my life. And I love you. And I'm gonna miss you, but you're always gonna be right here, man. So thank you guys for listening to me. And I know I see some of my friends here that I haven't seen in a long time. But let's all appreciate Jack and everything he gave. And thank you guys for listening to me. I love you, Jack. I love you guys.
Karina.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. I think so.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Marnie. First, my condolences to Kevin and Mr. and Mrs. Sue. This is so sad, I think, for me and for everybody, and I can't even begin to imagine how sad it is for you. And so really, I'm grateful for Jack and his friendship. I think I met him. I've been trying to remember where we first met because it seems like he's just been part of my life always since college. But I think I met him at Def Jam. So Wes, thank you for bringing that up. I think that was the first time we met. And then it was shortly after graduation that we really started becoming good friends. And I have 2 kids, and I've been telling them over this last week because they've heard of Uncle Jack, but they don't remember him. They don't remember the last time they saw him. They were very little. And so this week, every night at dinner, we talk about Jack, and I share stories and memories about him. And after a couple of days, my son Noah, he's 8, he says, "Mommy, I remember Uncle Jack." He says, "He was really kind and he really loved his friends. He did what he loved, and he loved to play games, and he was good at everything he did." And then he says, and he wanted the people around him to be happy. And I thought, oh my gosh, like the innocence and the mind and insights of an 8-year-old to so perfectly capture my friend, and to describe him exactly the way that I'm now describing him. Because over the years, for me, I've lived in a lot of different places, but going to Boston and going home always meant to going to Jack's house. There was never a trip that didn't include stopping by and spending time with him and visiting him and sitting on his couch and ruminating about life and dissecting the world and listening to his ideas, like so many of you heard about. And for me also making really big life decisions, and everything from wedding dress choices to finding out that I was newly pregnant. I'd go and I'd sit on Jack's couch and he would just listen and not judge and always have really wonderful advice. And I don't think I ever told him how much that meant to me, or how much it gave me courage to make difficult decisions. And now I really miss him, and I think I'll share one silly story because this is the one that I think struck my kids the most. And Marnie brought up rock band. We would go over, Marnie and I oftentimes together, we'd go over and we'd play rock band. And I always picked the guitar because I thought it was broken. And I knew that they were really good. Marnie can sing, and Jack was great with the drums. And I was like, I'll take the broken instrument. So a couple times a week we'd go over there and we'd play rock band, and I'd be on the guitar. And then one day we changed up the instruments. I decided I'm not going to play, and he plays the guitar and he picks it up, and I'm watching and I'm listening. I'm like, that guitar is not broken. And he's like, no, it's not. But you always tried really hard. And I just remember that. Like, he was just always encouraging and always positive and never judged, and just was happy if you were happy. And like I said, like so many of us have said, I'm really gonna miss him. I'm really grateful, but I'm gonna miss him a lot. So thank you all for listening and for being a part of his life and for allowing me to share some of my memories with you.
Is there anyone else online that wanted to say a few words?
Hello? I don't know if folks can hear us.
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Great. My name's Laura. This is Gavin. We're going to do our best, even though we're crying a lot over here and you might hear our daughter in the background. Obviously, just our deep. Sorry, it's really hard. We can't imagine what you're feeling right now, especially given how we're feeling right now. So just know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. And we're so sorry. Next, I just want to thank the people who have spoken. Your memories of Jack are wonderful to hear, and they're definitely the person that I know and love, and that we both do. And it's really heartwarming to hear how impacted other people, and more importantly, how similarly he impacted the people around him, because he was and so much love. And I'm not going to be as eloquent as the people have spoken before, but just all of those qualities that they've described, those are my friend Jack, our friend Jack, to a T. And he's going to be hugely missed. There's so much that I wish, unfortunately, we won't be able to do, but we do have this amazing treasure trove of memories that we'll always draw upon. I mean, we share stories about Jack all the time. Definitely, we've known him since college and have always been really close. Even when we lost touch, me and Jack, for a little while, we got right back in touch. It was just kind of one of those relationships that's timeless, and that you can kind of not talk for a while, but then the second that you're talking again, it's like no time that you kind of catch up, and you just go right from there, and it's like no time passed at all, which I always was so grateful for. And we were very sad that he wasn't able to meet our daughter, who was born last year, but about Jack, and he will be a presence in our lives always, because really was that special person. And there's just so many amazing qualities. And actually it involves Wes. It's many years ago. It's one of my first memories of hanging out with Jack, so that's why it's very special to me. But we were at a Halloween party, and we were sitting together and just kind of, chatting and joking around, and we could see Wes kind of in the distance. He was dressed as a cowboy. He was technically Chuck Norris, but he was wearing what appeared to be kind of a cowboy outfit, and I didn't know that he was Chuck Norris. And I commented to Jack, I was like, he kind of looks like Woody from Toy Story, the way that he's moving and the way that he's talking. And I mean, I think anybody who knew Jack knew he had the best, most infectious and stitches, like just could not contain himself. And Wes came over to getting a little annoyed because he couldn't understand why we were laughing, and the more annoyed he got, the more he looked like Woody. And it was just one of those silly moments, but we had a pretty solid belly laugh, and it's like one of the first an amazing laugh, and just such a great spirit. We love him very much. We always will. And I know it's hard for Gavin to speak, and so I'm trying to speak on behalf of both of us. Gavin has so many memories with Jack. I mean, truly, every time that, because we live in the New York area, every time that we would go to Massachusetts, we always made it a point to see Jack because he was like family to us. We always wanted to spend time with him and catch up and see how he's doing and have fun together. He came to our wedding in the Dominican Republic and he immediately was taken with him because it's just fun and, you know, taken over the dance floor, and just everybody loved him, to the point where when I was commenting to my parents about this, just saying, you know, we're really sad we lost our friend, they knew who he was, of course, because he just, you know, he stood out. But just, yeah, one of the best people I will ever know, and I'm just eternally grateful that our paths crossed and that I do have the memories that I have. I feel like anybody who knew him is a better person for it, and we're just so lucky to have had him in our lives. We just, we're gonna miss him tremendously.
I mean, Jack was definitely more than one of my best friends. He was definitely a brother. And I guess one story that we tell a lot is when Jack gets going on the dance floor, he starts slowly and he gets quicker and quicker to the point where it seems like he's just vibrating. And in my mind, it's to the point where he's moving and visualize what it is that he's doing. And I don't really know what else to say because it's just too difficult for me right now. But
just so many memories. It's hard to know where to begin. I mean, he just will always be a part of us, and so,
and we'll always love him.
always.
And we're just so sad.
Yeah, but we're sending nothing but love to, again, to Jack's family,
And everyone who knew
and
him.
and everyone who knew him, because it's, you know, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You guys hear me? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ben Feinberg. That's Sarah Rothenberg, my wife, next to me. When I first met Jack, which was at Tufts freshman year, he was this scrawny 18-year-old tennis player from Danvers. And, you know, he was a fun-loving, kind guy. And I got to know him pretty quickly. We joined the fraternity at the same time for our freshman year. And something that struck me really, really early, which Kevin mentioned today, was Jack's competitive streak. Jack and I spent a lot of time in our fraternity house mastering the games that we had to play there. Jack, I don't know, for those of you who weren't there, know this, Jack was a world-class foosball player. He deserves some of the blame for my back and how much time I spent down there playing the same things with him. We would spend hour after hour, you know, competing against each other, trying to get better. And that's something I found that he always did. You know, whatever Jack was doing, Jack was striving to be the best at it. And he was succeeding at being the best at it because everything he put his mind to, he could do. As I got to know him, you know, I found he was kind, he was caring. Whenever anybody needed a hand, he was there to help. I heard Wes mention the Xterra. I just remember he was even willing to help with his car when it was needed. But he did love that thing and was really proud of it. I remember Jack was so brilliant. You know, he had his area of focus. He was in the computer science stuff and he could talk about that for hours, but he could also talk about philosophy. He could talk about international politics. You know, I remember spending just hours upon hours. He lived in this dorm, I guess it was, called Carpenter House. I want to say it was his sophomore year, and we would just spend hours upon hours on the roof of that house, just talking about whatever. And sometimes it was something I could talk about. Like, as a philosophy major, I could talk about that stuff with him. And sometimes I'm sitting there listening to him go on about computer logic and how things tied together, and trying to pretend that I was understanding everything he was talking about, but I could tell that there was this thread that I totally got. And then there was antecedent parts that were a little over my head. But he was like that with everything. Everything he was into, he was super into and super informed about. And he was just such a great and bright is, you know, he took me to go get pho before pho was a thing. It was like 1997. And we went into Boston to Faux Pasteur. I guess maybe it's Brighton, but to Faux Pasteur. And he told me what to order. And I'm sitting there looking into this bowl, and I'm like, I have no idea what it was. And he taught me how to eat it. And, you know, it was just such a good time. And it was so cool. That was happy to help. You know, I like, he wanted to have dinner with me and I wanted to have dinner with him, and that's great. But he was also happy to help get me up to speed on what I had and what was in front of me. And, you know, I'll miss that. I mean, he's someone that, as we've had kids, I haven't seen as often over the last few years. And every time I saw him anew, it was just really cool to see him. And it was like it had been a day instead of a month or 6 months or whatever it had been. And, you know, I'll always love him for that. And all the times we've had together over the course of the years. And so I guess I just like that, Kevin and the rest of Jack's family here and abroad. You have my condolences and love. And Kevin, if there's anything you need, feel free to reach out. Okay, bro. We love you and we're here for you.
And I guess I'll just add, I'm not just Ben's wife. Jack was my friend in his own right, my own right. He touched me the same way he touched all of you. He was so warm and so welcoming, and it's so wonderful to hear that he touched everyone in the same way. When you, no matter what age you are in life, there's always, you know, that insecure part that thinks, do people want me here? With Jack, you always knew that he wanted you in that room, that he wanted you here, that he just wanted to spend time with all of us. And I especially remember that feeling because Jack was there the second time I talked to my husband, and I remember it. It was outside Hodgson, and you know, there was a little bit of fear of like being judged, but Jack walked up and Ben introduced me, and Jack was just so like calm and cool and collected, and kind of half talking to us and half dancing in his own world. And that's how I'm going to picture him forever, just kind of in that, you know, just very chill, happy to be with us. And add about the Xterra, as Wes was talking about it, he said Jack got his first car, and Ben and I were off screen, and we turned to each other and we both said, "Oh, the Xterra." And it was like, you know, we knew it totally was excited, and every time he was excited about something, he wanted to share that with all of his friends. I mean, there was definitely a point where I was like, oh my God, we know it's an Xterra, Jack. Like, we got it. It's an Xterra. But that's what made it so funny, is that he just wanted to share his joy with everyone. Like, if he was excited about something, he wanted you to be excited about it. And the phone, that's who he was. He wanted to be a teacher. He enjoyed sharing his knowledge. Want to say that we're going to miss him terribly, and he is in our heart forever. And absolutely our condolences to his whole family, especially Kevin, and we love Jack and we love you, and we're going to miss him terribly.
Looks like we got funk coming up.
I would love to say something if I could. Hi, everyone. My name is Karina. I'm the other Karina among this group. But I want to send my deepest condolences to Jack and his family here in Massachusetts and internationally. The loss of Jack is being felt by everyone here. And, he will be greatly missed. But how I met Jack was through Kevin. But as we got to know Jack about 10 years ago, we used to come together every Sunday to watch football together. And that group became known as the family. And just those memories, spending every Sunday together, being a part of each other's lives, watching Super Bowl wins and playoffs. It was just great. And having those great memories, I will always cherish. And the fondest memory I have of Jack is actually on my wedding day. He had tickets to the Patriots home opener, and he left that game early to come to our wedding. And I remember standing in line of my wedding procession, waiting to go out, and seeing Jack sneak in the back door, running to sit down and take a seat. It meant that much to him to be at our wedding and be on time. He left. And that's something I'll never forget, his selflessness, that he always put others first, no matter what he was going through or what fun he had, he put it down for his friends to be there with them. And that's a quality that I know is only a testament to how well he was raised and how much love he had with all of his friends and family, and how great he, really was as a person. He was truly, truly selfless and put everyone first. And I think that's a true testament of what an amazing person he was. But thank you for listening. And again, I'm so sorry. And I always have wonderful memories to share and think of him. Thank you.
Scott, did you want to jump on, or
Am I on, Chris?
you're good now?
Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. My name's Scott Kegels. I knew Jack from Tufts. We certainly had some classes together. We're fraternity brothers. And I haven't talked to him in quite a long time. To hear him passing away, it's just so shocking. And immediately just all, every memories, everybody talking about their experiences with Jack, I felt like I was right there because the way everyone's described him, it's the guy I knew. The guy, it feels like yesterday I had a very close relationship with him, despite the years since we last talked. I don't know what it is about the Xterra, but as soon as it was mentioned today, I had this picture, this yellow Xterra in my face, and yeah, I remember how proud Jack was of that car. But he's one of the greatest guys. He's going to be sorely missed. Our world certainly is no better for him leaving it. I just want to share some of his brilliance. I remember my senior year, his sophomore year, I believe, at Tufts, we were in a networking and systems administration class together. And I'd certainly never worked with that level of computer science before. And I just remember we were tasked with setting up an email server and the whole system. And I'm reading the directions, how to do this. It's making no sense to me at all. And I think Jack's just laughing at me the whole time. The way Jack laughs when he knows a lot more than you do. And I think by the time any of it made any sense to me, I think he'd already completed the assignment. And all I could think was, I'm glad Jack's my partner in this lab. So, I'm not sure what happened there, but I think I'm still on. Anyways, I just want to say, God bless to Kevin and the Sue family. I am extremely sorry for your loss. And my condolences out to you. Again, if there's anything you need to help comfort you at this time, please reach out. I'm there whenever you need me. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else online that wanted to say a couple words?
Hi. Hi. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. Mr. and Mrs. Sue, Kevin, I'm so sorry. I can't tell you when I last talked to Jack. Oh God, must have been years. I can't even remember when I met him. I think it was met us at St. John's, and I remember going to St. John's dances with Jack, and he was always the center of attention at all of the dances, basically. I don't know, we spent a lot of time together. We did a lot of things together. I do remember the Xterra, that was a big deal. He always talked about it, and whenever I wanted to go out, I wanted to drive, we had to take the Xterra instead. I do remember those times. I did see him on and off through college, so we stayed friends for many, many years. And I always remember watching him play tennis. He was an amazing player. Loved watching him. He was very competitive and perfectionist. I remember when he started some of his first jobs, I'd go and meet him for lunch because I was working like right down the street from him in an internship. But he always knew how to smooth things over if I was having a bad day. He made everything better. He was just such a, I don't know, I can't even, I guess everybody else pretty much said it for me. He was an amazing human being. He just nothing seemed to affect his personality. I mean, he was always happy. He always made light of things. Along with Kevin, I remember them going to clubs and watching the two of them go at it. It was always fun to watch them as I sat back and just sat on the sidelines. But he was an amazing human being, and I was extremely shocked to hear that he had passed. I wish I had kept in touch, but as you get older, you have family and kids, things just this, you know, you forget all the people you were friends with in high school and college, and things get away from you. But I was very saddened because the world is going to miss him. So I'm very sorry.
Anybody else online?
Oh. Hey there. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
My name is Sabrina Cushing. I am coming to you from Maine. And I was kind of hoping that I would be able to jump on here before, but full tears, full effect. But I just wanted to back. I met him almost 20 years. I think it's been about 19 years. So we almost hit the 20 mark. And he's just held such a special place in my heart for so many years. And I really can't envision him not as part of my life. He was living at 298 and there was a spare room, and he was the first one to say, well, we have an extra room, you can come on in. And in that house, there was, by my count, 6 boys and 7 girls living on 3 floors, and an ever-rotating cast of people throughout. And through that, I met so many people that I just really needed in my life and have rolled into just forever loving friendships. And I've always felt very blessed to have a very strong connection with Jack. This week has been terrible. It's been waves of grief and shock that I think everybody has. But when I am laying down at night, really the best things that have come from this friendship are the only things I can think about. You know, I've been so sad, but I just think about us laughing and laughing. So many people have mentioned his wonderful laugh, his never-ending laugh, and just being able to appreciate how funny everything is. His house always provided me a space. No matter where he lived, he kind of lived all over the place before finally settling in Somerville. And it was always such a safe haven. Hearing so many people talk about how much time he had to give and how helpful he was. I don't know how he had time for himself, because he really always helped me if I needed anything. His space was a retreat. You know, it was the ultimate bachelor cave, and nicely located it right in a little grandma's house. He never changed the wallpaper or the decor, but he had really the best of everything, all of his computers and his video games and his massage chairs and his feet massagers. So he really liked the best of everything. Our time together was just so easy. It's just such a rare gem to find. So I feel sadness for everybody that is I'm going through this week. You know, it would just kill him if I didn't discuss what a stellar computer programmer he was. Maybe the best computer programmer I've ever met. And you know, he really worked to earn that. When I first met him, he had just one more paper to write to get through Tufts. And he really worked for it. You know, he had started, actually at that point, he had started developing, I think it was a dating app for the Phoenix. And it was funny how that was something that lit him up and really kind of started directing him towards his life as a programmer. And he climbed every rung and earned every piece of that, developing himself and developing other people along the way. Always reading, always getting new ideas. And it was funny because he would talk a lot about programming, and it would usually be, but somehow we could spend hours talking about it. And it's funny, just recently, or I guess maybe probably a year ago, which seems recently with the pandemic, but he was discussing the specifics of a program he was working on. And I said, Jack, what does all this stuff do? You know, what does this all do? And he told me that he was developing a program that would help program and run neonatal units to all be linked together and to monitor the signs of the baby, what was happening with the babies, and it could all be controlled by a central unit. And it just sometimes just the brilliant things that he was working on would just get like kind of the discussion of the actual program, and that's just how he was. He was just such a smart guy. But I've always respected how much time he made for tennis. That was something from the moment I met him to the moment this week, was something that was so important to him. And he, no matter what, would get out there. You're the best tennis player I've ever met. Of course, I know Tim might have something to say about that, but it was always a fever pitch in your you know, I mean, it just carried this love for it and this intensity for it, just carried through your whole life. But you know, I think that one of the things Myrnaisa had mentioned, that he had helped at her job, and when I first started my business, he was right there help with my business, helping loading everything to the inventory. But you know, there's just little things that I'm really gonna miss in terms of just the everyday. You know, our dogs, Bosco and Harley, were the best of friends. And no matter where I was, I would just be able to locate you anytime we were out anywhere. And you always made sure that there, and you would walk me in my car and always give me a hug. So I'm just gonna miss you very much. And my condolences to Susan and Hugh and Kevin. Your loss is so great. So thank you for letting me say something.
Hi, Nicole. And I don't know if I can get through speaking through this, but somebody mentioned Def Jam, but all the fun times that we had in that building, and the first time that I ever met him, just upstairs, walked up the stairs, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Jack." I'm like, "I'm Nicole." And we just sat down, started playing video games, and started talking about life. We just skipped all the, I guess you would call them pleasantries, but I had so many pleasant times, and it was just, it was like that every time. It didn't matter if we hadn't spoken to each other for a year or if we had seen each other the day before. It was just, you just picked off wherever you left off, picked up. And my condolences to everybody here, because he's such a bright light, even now in my mind. He could always find the light in the darkness and share it. And when he was excited about something, everybody around him got excited about it. It was just an amazing person. And I couldn't get through it, but I love you all.
Is there anyone else online?
Hi, my name's Kendall, and I hope you can hear me okay. I was a friend of Jack's since in college, and I remember being proud of him, proud of knowing him as a tennis player. He's really competitive and was really good. And we took computer science classes together, and I wanted to share a fun memory. Jack and I both lived on campus our first summer after freshman year in college, and my friend and I, we were both working that summer, and Jack and I were in ZBT, and I wanted to go out to dinner, and I wanted someone to show me sushi. And Jack, we both went out to dinner together and had sushi, and I had never eaten that before, and it was delicious. And he really taught me about good food and taught me about culture, and I'm gonna miss him. He was a good friend, and he really knew how to have fun. The world's not as, it's not as much of a fun place without him in it. And Kevin and Jack's parents, I'm really sorry for your loss. He'll be missed, and there's a small light in the world that's gone, and I'm so sorry. And thank you for raising such a wonderful son.
Anybody else online would like to say something? Well, if maybe I can just say a few words while if there's people waiting. But I think we've heard a lot about Jack's competitiveness, and I think he's the only person I knew that owned his own tennis restringing machine because he broke strings so often because he was hitting it so hard. And then I knew Jack through the fraternity, and we played a lot of games there and hung out there. And foosball was another one. He broke the little net on there too because he hit it so hard, and anyone walking by, you'd have to watch out because the ball would be flying off the table. He's just so fiercely competitive. And beer pong was another thing that we used to play, but we used to play it like football. So Jack's got his upbringing with being a linebacker, but we used to play extremely competitively, hitting each other and just come back covered in slime because you're on the ground. But despite like all the competitiveness, I think in the end that's a lot of what brought us together and a lot of what drew so many people to Jack, because he's it's just competition. It's just a game, and it's just having all this emotion, but then in the end it brings you closer. And he just touched so many people around him. He had so many friends, so many people that really cared and loved him. And you could see it just being in the room with him, whether you're just in a darkened room playing video games or at a party or going out to eat. And we mentioned Def Jam a couple times now too. And it seems like it's a party, but we're still talking about it 21 years ago. And this is something that Jack was definitely instrumental in, and again, it's bringing people together because he's just such a good soul. Just being in his presence made you feel warm, and he brought these people together for this party in Latin way. 3 towers, 4 floors, each one with a different theme, and different music playing, different entertainment, food, beverages, and he was part of that. We're just bringing people together. And this party, since a lot of people don't know, it was brought the entire campus. This was not just the immediate friends, not just the fraternity. It was all of Tufts. The entire campus knew about. They all came down. The floors actually felt like they were rubber because there were so many people dancing in all of them, and just and even though the place was completely at capacity, no one wanted to leave. They actually had like all the Tufts police came by, the Medford police came by, Somerville police came by, and they literally just sat out there just watching because this is the entire campus having a good time, and there was nothing they could do about it. Like it was just appreciating the event for what it was. And eventually the fire alarm got pulled and everyone dispersed, but everyone still remains there, just chanting, celebrating. It was just a complete celebration of life, and it was like one of the best college experiences. And this is something that he was a big part of, and it touched so many people at Tufts. And echoing what everyone says, there's a big hole in the world right now, and I think that the best thing that we can do now is continue to remember him for all the good things and all the people he touched and the love that he brought to this world, and for that he'll always be with us.
No, he's a good dancer.
He tried. He had fun, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I guess his brother Kevin, keep a really good secret. I don't know, he's a good dancer. Yeah. And I know when he beat someone, I believe just now Scott mentioned about the way he laughed when he beat someone. I tell you, when you see the face, yeah, he's so, yeah. And he never give me any trouble, never. The only time probably is how old is he? He wanted Nintendo. He wanted Nintendo. And
No,
that's
he
time.
wanted a Game Boy.
Yeah,
It was a
Game Boy.
Game Boy he wanted.
Nintendo, yeah. And that's time, we just come to United States not long ago. And my wife and me, we struggle with the school. Yeah, we went to the pharmacy school. We struggle. And when he asked, he wants something. I know that's game, but I don't know that's going to be so big, right now. And I say no to him because I saw it again more stuff. I say no to him. And he don't take any no. He don't take any answer like a no. He told me that I need it. I need it. So he said, I'm going to, start to deliver newspaper. So I believe, he started to deliver newspaper, and of course, Kevin, probably they, put together. After he get the money, he said he want to buy it. I cannot say no. I cannot say no. And if I know the game will be so big today, maybe I would encourage him, and I would buy for him. But that's a regret. I didn't buy for him, but he get it. Yeah, he get it.
Jack,
Yeah.
Jack was from the beginning. He was always into computers and video games, and I just remember when he got the Game Boy, he was so happy. Yeah, he was so happy, and he's just so brilliant too. He could. So when he was, I don't know, I think it was around high school time, he started. He actually went to, I think he went to a bookstore and bought a C++ book, and he buried himself literally one weekend, just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and he banged the whole book out. And he's like, I know everything about C++. So he was, he was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially just now one of his friends say he like to talk. And since he know everything, and as a father, I gotta admit, he know almost everything. Because one of his cousin, which is, Hui's, brother, he's a psychiatrist. One day I bring Chieh back to Taiwan, and they talk something about the psychology. After the conversation, his cousin told me, is Chieh a computer, computer engineer? I said, yeah, what you question? And he said, Jesus, since he knows the psychology more than me, yeah, that's Chieh. And the one thing I want to say to him, maybe that's the reason he's still single. He likes to talk. Even when the time he talked to the father, he don't allow me to talk. And that's not the Asian culture, right? Yeah, in the country you got to listen to father. But he never allowed me to talk. Gotta wait until I say, Chieh, can I talk? Then he said, yeah, sorry, so he let me talk. And sometimes he argue with me about since I talk too much. And I said to him, if you check the message, probably I just talk one sentence, and you probably talk about more than 10 sentences. And that's the way it's Chieh. We like to talk. And I gotta tell him, if you want have a girlfriend or something, I see so many of all the girlfriend, but I believe if he can listen more instead of talking, right? Maybe he married already, but he just, he like to talk. That's Jack. Yeah, that's Jack. Yeah, he like to talk. And he really, yeah, he know everything. He know everything. Yeah. And I want to remember, Jack this way. Jack, you are my son, and you to really give our family the time, the right time. We always remember, and I wish you are in peace. Never, forget you. Yeah, we miss you. We miss you.
Just bring it in a little closer here.
Yeah, we miss
Audio.
you. Yeah, we miss you. And I don't know if anyone, coming from Taiwan still, among your Taiwan right now, it's probably
Sleeping time.
yeah, almost, even 1 o'clock. And I did see still have so many people online. I want to show, day one, my whole family. We are so happy to listen. Or just good friend tell me, all the good thing about Jack. And I know probably he did a lot of, stupid thing, and I didn't listen. I didn't hear any. Since he's just so good. And maybe someday, someday if you can share with me about some stupid, since he did. Yeah, that's where make me cry or laugh, Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. So many people are still there. Esther is there. Yeah. Yeah, I see, just now, I think 60 people.
Oh, we had 75.
75. 75 people. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I thank you. Okay, thank you. Joe, Joe's best friend.
I was not anywhere near as good a friend to him as I could have been, When I first met Jack, or one of the first times I met Jack, I had just come back to Tufts after having been out of school for a while. I lost my mother at the time. And, I didn't really know if I was going to come back to Tufts, if, I was where I was going to go in life. It was just a complete curtain. And Jack was one of the first people I literally saw the day I drove up to campus. I had like $7 in my pocket. I had to get a paper. I had no idea where I was going to go from there. And Jack welcomed me into his apartment at the time. He said, hey, you can stay here for like a day or two, hang out and sort yourself out. Don't worry, I've got you. Maybe a huge bowl of noodles and some of those amazing dumplings that he always makes, just incredible food. And next thing you know, that day turned into 2 days. And then it was 3 days. And then it was a week. And then it was 2 weeks. I'd been there on his futon for almost a month before I managed to turn things around. So if I had been a better friend to him when he was alive, he might still be here. There was a period where I was very, very selfish, and we lost touch, young professionals or different things are going on in life. And we'd started reconnecting again, over the last year or so. And I just wish I had been a better friend to him. There are so many people on this list who are here today who qualify more as a best friend for Jack than myself. I want to be the best friend I can now, So my apologies, our condolences. We love Jack so much. He was such an amazing person. And if there's anything I can do, we can do going forward, please just let us know. Always.
Okay.
There's still a lot of people. There's still a lot of people.
Yeah. No, they're still.
When I see 42 over there.
So unless someone else had some last words, I think we might be signing off. So we have
So Chris, you have all the record, right?
yes.
Good.
If that makes it easier or harder. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
So there's nobody else?
so. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.